HaKadosh Boker or Masechet Nazir Daf 53a1 says the Gemara v'harava hu de'amar lo nitzecha ela l'shidra v'gugol Hashem borov atzamot. It was Rava that he said somewhere else that the Mishnah, when it's talking about the tum'ah of shidra and gulgolet, that each one in itself, we're talking about the shidra and the gulgolet that does not have rova atzamot, it does not have a quarter of a cup of atzamot. For example, let's say it's the shidra and the gulgolet of a tinok katan, of a small child or a small, right, a small boy, small whatever it is. So therefore, what happens is that there you're not going to have a rova atzamot from the shidra and the gulgolet. So therefore, he comes and he says, right, of tinok katan, you don't have that. So he says, so therefore, when the Mishnah is talking about the shidra gulgolet, there has to be shalem. It's shalem, even though it does not have the rova kav. And therefore, since the Rabbi himself said that, how could you come and bring a proof from that from the Mishnah? So says the Gemara, you're right. Batar de Shama, after he learned these words, when it said that we're talking about the shidra and the gulgolet that does not have rova tzamot, he learned it from Rabbi Akiva, which means from the words of Rabbi Akiva in another place, he learned it, and therefore you cannot bring a raya from our Mishnah to the Safek of Rami Bar Chama. Remember, the Safek of Rami Bar Chama was when it says Shidra v'Gulgolet, is it O or Ve? Yeah, very, very important. O or Ve. Depends also how you read it also. You understand?
Thank you.
Tashima, we're going to now try to bring a proof from a Beraita that was brought above. Shammai comes and he says, Etzem echad mina Shidra o mina Gulgolet. When we're talking about even one bone from the Shidra, from the Gulgolet, is going to be mitameh be'oil. So it's mashma that even the Chachamim that argue and say that etzem echad is modim berova akav, they're going to be modeh that when it's talking about 1/4 of a kav of that samot of the gulgolet, that it's going to be tameh and the nazir is going to be migalech. So Shammai says the Gemara, don't bring me a proof from there because Shammai was machmir very much. So therefore, since he was so machmir, even one etzem which comes from the shidra or the gulgolet is already enough. But the other Tanaim, they say no, that it could be that you need rova samot from the shidra and the gulgolet. So leave Shemina, but we could still say, why don't we say from there, Tamad the Shammai the Machmir, according to the Rabbanan, until you need a half of a kav. So says the Gemara, no, Dilma ki al kam Rabbanan and the Shammai. Maybe the rabbis only argue in Shammai, if it's only going to be one bone. But if you're already going to have a quarter of a kav of atzamot, afilu Rabbanan modu, even the rabbis are going to agree to the Shammai, right? This is not Bet Shammai, the Shammai. Okay, the what that is going to be mitameh boy. Amar Rabbi Lazar says, Amar Rabbi Eliezer. Says Eliezer, the beginning used to say chetzi kav atzamot v'chetzi log dam lakol. It's half of a kav of atzamot and half of a log of dam, according to all opinions. Rova atzamot revi'it dam, and a quarter of a kav of atzamot and the revi'it of a dam lo lakol is not going to be mitameh be'ohel according to nothing. Umiksatan hayomrim, and then a few rabbis would say af rova atzamot revi'it dam lakol, that even rova atzamot and revi'it dam is according to everybody. Betin shel achrim amru, but then afterwards they said no. Chetzi kav atzamot v'chetzi dam is lakol. Half of a kav of atzamot and half of a log of dam is, according to all opinions, is going to be mitameh. But rov atzamot v'rivit dam letruma v'kodshim, it's going to be for truma and kodshim. Avalol nazir v'oseh pesach, but not for a nazir and a seza, which means to do with truma and kodshim already a revi'it 86 cc or 86 mils, or that's according to the Rachnai, according to Chazon Ish, just 150, or rov atzamot, which is a quarter of a kav of atzamot, is going to be mitameh to do with truma and kodshim. But to do with Nazir and Pesach, it has to be a half. So it's a different shita. It's double that. Okay? So michti. So we say, en achra shlishi machrat. We don't, when do we say that it's going to be the third one? Is that going to be machriya or not? So he says, Amar Rabbi Yaakov Baridi, mipi hashmu amruha, mipnei chagay zedon. They actually mekobal this from Zechagai, Zechariah Malachi, and therefore the halacha is like the third one, which means that this was the third shita. Remember, you had two different opinions. The first opinion was that according to everybody, it's going to be half a kav and half of a log. Then the second opinion said, no, according to everybody, it's going to be a quarter and a quarter. And then the last one said, no. To do with truma and kodshim, it's a quarter, right? But to do with Nazir and Pesach, it's a half. So he said that's third one, which is like kilu yavosh l'shibi achia b'nehem, is going to be.
That's the halacha.
That's halacha because they accepted that from Chagai Zechariah Malachi. Okay, fine. 2 dots. The 2 dots says alelu and Nazir megaleach. Al elu dereisha lemiute etzem keseora. When it says al elu on these things, the Nazir is going to come and start taking off his hair. This is coming to exclude an etzem keseora. What does it mean etzem keseora? Dal magal v'maso in al aholo lo, which means that on a magal masa, which is touching it and carrying it, it's going to be a problem. But on the ohel, it's not going to be a problem. Al elu deseifa lemiute even hasechuchit. Now it's going to the el elu on the sefer. When it uses these words, it's coming to exclude the concept of ohel. What does that mean? When you have an even mesachechet on an ohel, which is schach, that's a lashon mesachechet, right? Schach. When you have an even, which is like a schach on top of the met, right? So, for example, let's say you have 2 or 3 stones which are coming out from the gader. So the tumah min met is underneath that stone. And if the nazir comes under the stones and he doesn't know if the stone with the tumah is under it, it's still considered a what? He's going to be mitameh be'ohel or not. That's the question. Okay?
The stones are...
Let's say you have a long stone. Long stone. Okay? And now underneath that stone, you have the met. But it's further down. So if you have these 2 or 3 extra stones and they're very long out, and now the Nazir walks by here, even if he's not under the same ohel, because well, that's what we're saying here, that it's going to be a question, is lemiute even asechuchit. Okay? Fine. Next. The chatzi kav atzamot. When we're talking about half of a kav of bones. Nun gimel amud bet. 53b. Chatzi kav atzamot, in only if it's going to be a half of kav of atzamot, then yes. But a rova kav, but if it's only going to be a quarter of a kav of atzamot, no. So hechidam, what's the case? Ilema, if you're going to tell me now deep down atzamot kiseura that you have bones which already has a seura, so typically what are you talking about exactly? If the bone is already big enough that it's more than a seura, it's already mitameh. So what do I need then? A half a kav, rova kav? What do I care about that then? And so the Gemara, ela de akma chakmuche. They crushed it. It was like pulverized. It was how do you call it? Like pulverized. It was like mamash like a polvo, right? It was like a powder. Okay, and therefore, which one?
Flour.
Yeah, like flour. You make flour. You come and you crush it, and then it becomes like flour. So because it's good, yes, and therefore that's why you need the rov of a kav or chetzi kav. But if it was already whole, so even a kiseura is already going to be a problem. So what are you talking about? Then you need a half of a kav or a quarter of a kav. So kavanah is that once it's crushed, you don't have like the seura. So therefore, what's the measurement? So we said it's going to be a half of a kav or a quarter of a kav. Okay, next 2 dots. Al ever minamet. We're talking about ever minamet. Al ever minachai sheshalayim basakaroi. En alehem basakaroi. My. What happens if it does not have? Meaning the ever is there, but it does not have flesh. You have the limb, but without a flesh. Rabbi Yochanan says in him the Nazir is not going to come to cut off all his hair because of it, which means it's not going to be metamem magam masar. Shaki says it is. Nazir migalech alehem. Rabbi Yochanan says in Nazir migalech alehem the ktani reisha was going to the reisha. Al ever minamet val ever minachai sheshalayim basar karawui. Only if you have the ever minamet or ever minachai that it has enough flesh properly. Aval that yes in. Aval en alehem, but if it doesn't have flesh, no. So it's not going to be metameh. Rabbi Shaki says migalech. But the fact that you did not say that since you didn't say in the Seifa that anazir megalech on an ever that it does not have basar karawi. So basically, one is bringing a proof from the Reisha, and one is bringing a proof from the Seifa. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan, Amal Lecha is going to tell you how does he answer the diuk of Resh Lakish from the Seifa? Because in the Seifa, I didn't say that it didn't have basar. It's okay. So he says, Amal Lecha kolecha de mashma miklala loktani b'Seifa. Whenever it's mashma from a diuk in the Reisha, you're not going to bring it in the Seifa. So now when we're talking about in the Reisha, half of a kav of atzamot, it's mashma only half of a kav atzamot, yes, rova no, right? So he says, and therefore you're not going to come and you're not going to take the haircut. You're not going to impurify this nazir. Uktani b'Seifa, then we learned in the Seifa, rova atzamot, a quarter. So what's going on? So he says, Hata milav rova atzamot, avimina afilu al magav masalo. If it wasn't for the fact that it's written in the Seifa, a quarter of the atzamot, a quarter kav of atzamot, I would have had the havamina that even on magau masa, even on touching and carrying it, the nazir is not going to be megaleach. Okay, because that's what's mashma from the Reisha. Okay?
Without the basar?
Without the basar. So lehachi tzricha lemitin, that's what we have to teach rova atzamot, that even on the ohel, right, that on rova atzamot, on the ohel, the nazir is not going to be megaleach, but on the magau masa, he is going to be megaleach. So it comes out that there's a chidush in the Seifa, that in the place where we don't have a chidush, that's why we take it from the Reisha. But if there's a chidush, we take it from the Seifa. So says the Gemara, v'chetzi log dam. What about half of a log of dam? The Shema Mina that we learned chetzi log dam in, revita dam lo. V'ktani b'Seifa. And we did learn in the Seifa revi dam. So what's going on then? So he says, no, there it's lapuke Rabbi Akiva. Tamar Rabbi Akiva, but Rabbi Akiva says revita dam nazir migalechen. According to Shitat Rabbi Akiva, even on revi'it dam, the nazir is going to be megalech on Magau Masal. And therefore the Tana had to teach it, right, that the Nazir is not going to be Megalech even on Magau Masal. It means like kilu to lapuke, to go out of Rabbi Akiva. I mean, don't think like Rabbi Akiva, we don't hold of Rabbi Akiva. Okay? Fine. So says the Gemara, what's the case ever minamet? If it has etzim kisora, what's the reasoning of Rabbi Yochanan that he says that it's not going to be megaleach, it's not going to be metameh? And if it doesn't have etzim kisora, why? What's the reasoning of Resh Lakish? Amar lecha Resh Lakish. Resh Lakish is going to answer you. Really, bemet, it does have an etzim kisora, and still, vafilu achi rachmana Rabbi, the Torah still comes and it's adding it in. The Tanya was, it says in a pasuk, we just had this in Parashat Para, right? In Chukat, right? In Para. So it says over there, anything which is going to touch, right, on whether it's going to be the halal cherev, right, or bemet, or the actual dead person, or be'etzem adam or bekaver, whether it's an etzem adam or the kaver, it's going to become tameh. Al panei hasadeh, what does it mean al panei hasadeh? Hamahil al panei hamet, oil hamet. That's what it means al panei hasadeh, but he's not actually touching the deceased, but it's al panei hasadeh, and he's in the same ohel, he's in the same tent.
But that because
Panei hasadeh, that's oil hamet, or zemahil al panei hamet. B'chalal cherev ze ever min hachai. Which means that if it wasn't going to be cut off, right? So therefore, be'emet, it could have actually been fine. You understand? Which means that it could have been, that means it's got basar and everything is normal. Cherev, harezeh kechalal, which means the cherev or any other type of matechet, the touching the deceased, is also going to be tameh, just like the halal atzmo, that we already learned, if you remember, right? And we learned this in Ta'anit, and we learned this in Chagiga, and we learned this. When a person comes and he takes a sword, and he kills someone with a sword, that sword has the same tum'ah status as the deceased. Right? That's what it says.
Holding the sword that's going to kill, the killer
becomes
if he was
tameh.
a Nazir, he becomes tameh.
Obviously.
Nazir on a Nazir.
Anybody, exactly, anybody becomes tameh. So that sword...
So he didn't forget about the killing, it's just because he touched the sword.
He touched the sword, exactly. That means, let's say somebody else now comes and touches that sword.
Whether he killed or he didn't.
Exactly.
why?
Because that's what it says. B'chalal cherev. Chalal cherev means that the cherev or any other kli matechet which touch a met, metamiim adam vekilim tum'at shua kemo hachalal atzmo.
But he's met now.
Well, he's met, obviously.
Before he touched, before he killed,
the guy, he left it inside until the guy died.
Okay.
But
before that,
he did it a few times. He plucked it in, took it out, plucked it in, took it out, plucked it in. By the time, hey,
doesn't matter. But Rabbi, I'm
Yes.
saying before he touched.
right? Ovemet, right? It says over here, when it says ovemet, the ever hanechlal. This is talking about ever, which is cut from the met. Ove'etzem adam, when it says be'etzem adam, the rovat samot, there's a quarter of a kaver batzamot, which is going to be mitameh bo'el. Obe kaver, the kever satum, that it doesn't have mamash, like a closed kever. So now the Gemara is going to actually explain each one. The Amar Mor, Tumah Bukave Ola, Bukave Yuredet, that it goes up, goes down. We're obviously going to have to explain this tomorrow, the entire concept of Tumah Bukat, Tumah going up and down to do with the Ohel, and so on and so forth.